According to Bala Muhammad, it was a divine meeting at the Bakirwa area in Kaduna metropolis.
Actually, I meet one Habakar who happened to be one of our guards when we were in captivity. So actually, after we finished the prayer, imagine I just turned like that, and I just see somebody like familiar the face that I know. He just looked at me, and then later we just shake hands. So after shaking the hand, he just vibrates. Later, uh, I I just give me a little amount, and then went to nearest filling station, and thereby I follow his motorcycle. All of them, I forgive them. I stand that I forgive them because I'm a Muslim.
A kidnappee met his kidnapper in the mosque around Kaduna State and they shook hands. The kidnapper was actually shocked, but again, the kidnappee couldn't arrest the kidnapper because the kidnapper has been forgiven by your Nigerian government. He has been rehabilitated. He has gone through that 18 months rehabilitation for bandits and Fulani kidnappers. On my screen, let me read this guy's experience. I shook his hand and he panicked. I told him to relax. He told me he repented and has left banditry. We sat and discussed a lot of things. Mohammed said. Mohammed, who spent 197 days in captivity following that popular train attack. Of course, do you all remember? So welcome to News in Nigeria TV. This is another news that you don't get anywhere in the old wide world, but only from Nigeria. Nigeria is the only country in Africa and of course in the whole global world that currently today is rehabilitating terrorists and bandits. So the experience of Mohammed is only peculiar to Nigeria and you can only get it right here on this platform. Mohammed, who was captured when he was traveling from Kaduna to Abuja on a train station about 3 or 4 years ago. On that particular train station, one young lady, an Igbo female doctor, she was shot and she tweeted, just as you have on my screen there, that she has just been shot. And there were so many trolls against her that you were shot and you are tweeting. So on that train, Muhammad was unfortunately on board and he was captured for 197 days. Can we do the calculation? 197 days is above 6 months. So Muhammad was under the captivity of these Fulani bandits, which the government had been alleged to pay ransoms to, because the Buhari regime came out, they came with a show of display that it was the Nigerian army that captured the people. Then the police people later came up that no, that we were the one that went into the forest to capture. It was so disgraceful back then. So today, those bandits that were involved in that act have been forgiven by the Nigerian government. Those bandits, those Fulani kidnappers that were involved in such dastard act, the government and some families had paid ransom to, all of a sudden, just in less than 3 years, without facing any harsh consequences, without facing any form of, repercussions, is now back into the society. Indeed, is not even going to the mosque. Is now going back to have experience, have a sit down with a person he kidnapped. But I have a question for Muhammad. Muhammad, whatever money you paid to this kidnapper, did he return it? Did the government compensate you for the very terrible experience you had? A traumatic experience of your lifetime. In what way did the government of Nigeria compensate you? You see, this is why so many people have said that the Nigerian government is a government for some people. A government that encourages impunity. And this is why it seems as if the fight against insurgency and insecurity does not have an end. Because as it stands today, these elements that go out there to attack our Nigerian soldiers and armies will, in the near future, even when captured, they will be released to go back into the society to live their normal lives. In so many cases, Nigeria as a nation has lost so many souls who are in the Nigerian army. Muhammad told us that they have a sit down. They started discussing about life. Then the bandit was apologizing that he's sorry. That after all, you can see now that he is repentant, a repentant kidnapper. That he has stopped all that. That he has now been showed the true way. That in fact the government now haven't gone through that rehabilitation process. That they gave him a starter pack. They gave him wheelbarrow. They gave him funds for fertilizer. They gave him some seeds and of course some cash to kickstart his life again. Well, the initiative might look good on paper, but there's only one thing this initiative does. It encourages more people to go into such banditry. It encourages more northern Fulani youth to go into this criminality because it shows that, well, when you are captured, the worst that will happen to you is you'll be condemned to 18 months rehabilitation orientation, and afterwards you get a starter pack, seed, wheelbarrow, cutlass and all, cash, and of course seeds. And you know, this guy who says he's a repented bandit, maybe after some years will might trace his steps back into banditry, and then the cycle continues. You find himself into banditry again and goes into kidnapping, and maybe he's been caught again. He would then be rehabilitated again, and then it becomes a vicious cycle for him and his people who are in such criminality act. This is nothing but a shame of a nation and a country. Show me a country that does this nonsense. Show me a country that wants to end insecurity but pampers the elements that are perpetrating this high level of insecurity. Have you not seen how America does not joke with terrorists? If America does not deploy capital punishment, what they do most times is life imprisonment without labor. So why is the government not having the capacity to implement life imprisonment for this kidnapper? I mean, this kidnapper, we know that the numbers of people that were kidnapped on that Abuja train station, not all of them went home normal. Not all of them went home with complete body parts. Not even all of them went home alive. Some lost their lives along the way. Some because of high blood pressure, because of tension, because of panic, lost their life. However, our government, our government that is known as the Federal Republic of Nigeria, is releasing bandits, releasing Boko Harams, releasing Fulani terrorists. However, incarcerating a young man that is simply preaching for a better country, a man like Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. In a country whereby when you speak up, for myself, I might be picked up anytime because I am speaking against the oligarchy and the hegemony of the Fulani in the Nigerian ecosystem. It is possible that in the coming days or months or years, they might pick me up that I'm saying too much. Right? These are what Mazi Nnamdi Kanu said, that Nigeria is owned and run by the Fulanis. How could a Buhari come up with such initiative that let us begin to rehabilitate bandits and terrorists? So much so that as of today, we have recouped, reintegrated, and rehabilitated over 400,000 bandits and terrorists. Like, what sense does that make? Like, for real, why would a Buhari come up with such initiative? And today, a Tinubu cannot stop it. Because if he tries to stop it, a revolution will rise from the north. The likes of the religious leaders from the north, the sheikhs, the gumis, the sultans, will start saying that you want to launch another attack on the Fulanis. Eh? I mean, we know what Jonathan was tagged as. Jonathan was tagged as a killer of the Fulani bloodline. There was a time that some news were spreading that Jonathan is implementing Fulani ethnic cleansing. All manners of propaganda against him. So Tinubu will not just go and stop this. Look at look at the mess he made. Instead of Buhari to issue an executive order that any bandit that is caught right there in the act should be given a capital punishment, or on a minimum life imprisonment with ad labor. Period. But again, Buhari said, no, these are my sons. All right, they're my sons. This is what I would do is, I'll build a camp. And I'll name that camp the Bandits and Terrorist Rehabilitation Camp. We'll reorientate them for 18 months. Afterwards, we'll give them funds and maybe just some seeds capital to start a fresh life. Have we not had so many stories where rehabilitated bandits go back into banditry? I say something that how do you domesticate a lion that has tasted blood? How can you domesticate such? It's impossible. There are only two things. Is either you cage that lion forever or you take the life of that lion. Period. Because if you want to domesticate a lion, you must ensure that that lion does not have a taste of fresh blood. When it does, it becomes wild. So a Fulani bandit, a Fulani terrorist that has taken the life of a human being, not once, not twice, you now send our innocent soldiers to go into the desert to attack these people, to apprehend them, to suppress them. And when they do, you are telling them to cease fire. You are telling them that they shouldn't kill those bandits, that we have to rehabilitate and then reintegrate them back into the society. I mean, what kind of signal does that send to the other people as a Nigerian? It only states that if I go into criminality, I will have the capacity to also be reintegrated and be forgiven. Now, these are the issues, right? The issues are clear. What is the way forward? It is clear. The way forward is Tinubu cannot stop this program. Buhari started it. He cannot. The same way as Tinubu cannot issue an executive order to stop open grazing. Tinubu dares not try it. He knows if he does that, he will be kicked out by even the leaders of the Fulanis in the north. He will tell a Fulani man not to be carrying his cattle on the street of Lagos. He will tell a Fulani man not to be carrying his cattle on the street of Metama, 4th Street, Wuse Road in Abuja. He can't do it because the country has been captured by these oligarchs. Clear and simple. So on the comment section, some people are having conversations like, you had an handshake with your kidnapper. Why didn't you like you met one of the people who held you captive for 197 days in a mosque? Instead of getting the police to arrest him for kidnapping and banditry, you opted to shake hands with him and ask him to relax. You have just aided and abated the excesses of these criminals and terrorists, who the government, for reasons best known to them, intentionally labeled as bandits, probably to protect the image of a specific marauding tribe in the West African region. The sad reality is that the victim has developed pity for his tormentors. No. Tam Gunobo. You have to understand that the kidnap is not to be blamed at this instance. You said you should call the police. Are you not paying attention? They said the federal government has forgiven him. So who does the police work for? And in return, who does the government seems to be working for? If the government can catch a criminal right in the act, and in less than 2 years, the government has forgiven him of all his sins. The government has cleared his records, made him a new person, released him into the society. Yeah, the kidnap in this instance does not have anybody to cry to. The only thing the kidnap can do is thank his stars that he was not pied in the process. Approximately 200 days. Just 3 days shying away from 200 days. This guy, for more than half a year, was in a forest somewhere where he was being beaten every day by these marauders. He was being mosquito bite, suffering from mosquito bite, all manner of trauma. Some of them in some cases might have been raped, like for real. So the government felt it right, like, okay, the perpetrator should be forgiven. Just in less than 3 years, let us let them go out. It's crazy. So there's absolutely nothing this guy can do. You know, the day I gave up on this fight against insurgency was the very day I heard a general state that a repentant Boko Haram has a capacity to become the next president. That was the day I gave up. Let us listen to the general together.
An ex-Boko Haram stands having laid his arms and comes back, turns his way away from his negativity. He stands to be a president of this country. He stands to aspire to any position in this country. Why is he wasting his time? Opportunity.
The Fulani Army just released a statement that releasing Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is more dangerous than releasing a repentant Boko Haram. You know, that video we just saw now were the words of that soldier who's a Fulani, Mr. Raf. Where are we? What's your reaction?
That's why I tell you that it's an abominable administration of both Buhari and Tinubu. A repentant Boko Haram is still a terrorist who have selfish interests and ulterior motive, pretending to have been repented. A terrorist meaning an arsonist. An arsonist meaning someone that can unleash terror, pain, agony on a fellow human being without reason. No reason. I don't know what to understand.
Yeah.
So that's why in the United States today, if they after you as a terrorist, it's either you come alive or dead. You can never reintegrate the terrorists into American system, both their military and their police. But you see the kind of regime we have in Nigeria, it is all Fulanized Fulani regime, ranging from Obasanjo, a Fulani man was deputy president. From Yar'Adua, a Fulani man was a president. From Jonathan, a Fulani man was vice president. Mohammed Sambo, Namad Sambo. Buhari regime, a Fulani man was what? President. A Fulani man was chief of army staff. A Fulani man was GMO, group managing director of NNPC. A Fulani man was in charge of the customs, immigration, and the prison controller. So what are we saying here? When Fulani has actually seen that they have failed the whole governmental departments in Nigeria during Buhari regime, they've actually understood the conquests of what the Fulanis, because they believe that they have conquered Nigeria. And the only perceived enemy, person of interest in Nigeria today to Fulanis is Nnamdi Kanu. The man that has come in with agitation for actualization of Biafran sovereignty. He wants the Igbos to sit away from Nigeria. He wants the Yorubas to understand that they should fight for their own life and land. He wants the Efik, Ibibio, the Mid-Belt, all other tribes in Nigeria that they are not minority, but they should come together and form a nationality of their own. So that Nigeria will be moving. He actually wants the whole Nigerians to understand that the invaders, thieves, armed robbers, bandits we have in Nigeria are the Fulanis. That's why he educated the Fulanis while at Guzo or Gachua prison. And today, The only perceived enemies the Fulanis have today is Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Actually, they have listened to him in his previous broadcasts that where he was going with all his preaching, agitation, that is sanitization of Nigerian society, is to abolish Fulani existence in Nigeria, because they don't mean well to Nigerians. All they come to do here is to cause political disturbances, religious crisis and troubles in Nigeria. They are not here for peace. They are not here for economic expansion. What they are here is to expand their religious borders, bringing in more Sunni, yeah,
suppressed.
Yes, Sunni into our system, politically and religiously. That's why you see them pointing accusing finger at Nnamdi Kanu. Nnamdi Kanu portends peace, serenity, economic tranquility to the current Nigeria today. But the troublemakers, the killers, the invaders, people that drinks people's blood for sake of Islam, are criticizing Kanu's freedom. And I have this question for you. Is the Fulanis in control of our Nigerian judiciary department? Yes, they are everywhere. These are people that don't know much. They go to school with half certificates.